Everyone, it's Jennifer Miller for Jesse James Beads, and today we're going to be making a necklace using some of the beads and components found in the First Frost Magical Mystery Bead Box for October. The beads are going to come from the First Frost Bead Mix and the Autumn Paths Bead Mix. We're also going to use the silver toggle clasp found in the Hot Cider mix. In addition, we're going to use some sterling silver extreme flex from Soft Flex Company, and I also have some wire guardians and some crimp tubes. These are the 2x2 crimp tubes, also from Soft Flex Company. You're going to want a pair of chain nose pliers, an optional second pair of chain nose pliers, and I like having the bent nose pliers. You're going to need some flush cutters, a pair of round nose pliers. You're going to also need some sort of crimper. I have a standard crimper here that has the two different notches to use. I have a pair of Xuron that have several different notches that you can select from. And I also have some magical crimpers. You're also going to need some wire. I'm going to use some 22 gauge German style wire for my focal, and you'll see why having a 22 gauge rather than 20 will work out easier. Now that I have everything all laid out, I can bring in my bead stringing wire, and I'm going to work from the spool. I'm going to start adding all of my beads, and I will come back when I'm at the point where I'm going to be measuring. In this first half of the necklace, I was hoping to have 8 inches, and I have exactly 8 inches. So this is the pattern. I'm going to continue on, and I will come back just before we start to do our closures. So to finish this off, we're going to add a 2x2 crimp tube or any crimp tube that you have on hand. I am going to use a wire guardian, and I do this just to protect the wires since the wire is going to be going up against the metal. So we're going to add jump rings, and then also too, it makes it more secure. Pass that back through. And something I like to do, it's not necessary, but something I like to do is just to close off my wire guardian. I feel like I get a little extra out of my necklace, and then also too, sometimes jump rings will fall in between the wire and that wire guardian, and I don't want that to happen. So if you're using your standard crimping pliers, you'll just add it to the back notch, give it a squeeze, turn it on its side, give it a squeeze to close up. I would like a nice bead-like finish, so I'm going to come in with my magical crimper, place that crimp tube right in the middle, and give it a squeeze. When I give it a squeeze, it pinches down the 4 corners. I'm going to turn it on its side just like we would standard crimpers, and then now just turn this around to get this all nice and secure, and it leaves a real pretty bead-like finish. And there we have it. Give it the beautiful tug test and come in with your cutters, and you can trim it here, or if you want, you can add it through the first bead. I like to, just so that it's sitting on that crimp tube nice and centered, and then I will trim outside of that first bead. I'm going to bring the rest of the necklace down and then give it a little bit of a trim, enough room so that I can add my crimp tube, my wire guardian, and give it a squeeze. I give it a squeeze. I have my 4 pinched corners, and now just going around and around and around until I feel no tension when I am crimping. Now what we need to do is we're going to put this off to the side, and we are going to make our centerpiece. For the centerpiece, I actually brought in one of the small green beads from the Autumn Paths Bead Mix. Then I have a 5-inch, or you can 5.5 inches whatever you feel comfortable with. And this is the 22 gauge wire. And we are going to attach this directly to our toggle. And I will show you how we're going to do that. But first, we need to get this wrapped. I'm going to insert my wire, and I'm not going to go halfway. I'm going to go about a third of the way down. And then I'm going to bring those wires together and crisscross them. I'm going to grab my chain nose pliers and bend the long wire upwards and the smaller wire downwards or sideways. Then I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers and just place my chain nose pliers, the tip of my chain nose pliers, over the wire. I'm going to bring in my second pair of chain nose pliers and wrap around 3 times. If you want to make a bulky wrap, you can make a bulky wrap here too. So if you have a large bead that you're going to be placing in between, and I put the bead in between so I don't have to worry about matching up my wraps. I'm going to come in with my cutter and give it a little bit of a trim, and then just slightly tuck in that end. We're going to add our little bead here, and that's what we have. Now what we're going to do is we are going to now make our loop that we are going to attach directly to that component. We are going to come in, and I don't need a long neck, and so I'm just going to bend that forward 90-degree angle with the chain nose pliers at the tippy tip. And I know that I need to have about halfway on my round nose pliers. Everybody's round nose pliers are going to be a little different, but I'm going to come in just a smidge over half. And I'm going to form that over, rotate. I'm going to push to the back, and then now get that all nice and centered up by rotating my wrist. Before I start wrapping, I already have that opened up a little bit. You can also just open up your loop oh so slightly just by bending that up. And then I'm going to attach. And then I'm going to close it up before. So now I'm going to close that up, and this is what we have. I'm going to bring in my crimpers, and this is what I use these crimping pliers for. But you can come in because they have a nice narrow edge. Now I want to get that wire wrap, and we're going to wire wrap once around, twice around, and get that third wrap in and finish at the back. I'm going to come in with my cutter, make sure that I'm angled because I don't want to accidentally snip that loop. Come in and give that a trim. I'm going to come in with my bent nose pliers so that I can get that. You could also use your bent nose pliers when you're wrapping as well, but I want to get that all nice and clean, and let's make sure we get this one nice and clean too. And all I'm doing is just tucking in the end. And there we have our component. Now what we want to do is bring in our necklace, and we can open this jump ring and add to one side. So next we're going to bring in our bar. I already have 2 jump rings, and I want to add a third, and this will help balance out the connection here. We'll close that up. You can hear that lock into place. And there is our necklace. I love it. It's so pretty. I love all the stones, all of the different colors, and adding some crystal bling in with some ceramic beads. So pretty. You can design this and move around your components within the necklace as you wish. This bracelet was put together using beads and components from the First Frost Magical Mystery Bead Box for October. We'll see you on the next one.